Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. So in this video we're going to take on the Dbh's latest stage, Formidable Saiyans. And this is going to obviously be the Infinite Dragon Ball history. So in terms of building this team, originally I was going to go for a revenge slash low class warriors hybrid team. But I've decided on a pure Saiyans team, doubled up by the physical transforming Vegeta. We're then going to have the Super Saiyan Strength Namek Goku, the Agility the Agility T-War Bardock. We're going to have two free-to-play cards, the Toa and the physical Sugesh. And then to round out everything. Oh wait, just hold on. We're gonna have the Tech Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. You've seen him in a couple of my latest videos. I thought he might be one of the better ones to run up with the team. So yeah, that's gonna be it. In terms of the way this event is structured, you need to complete it in 17 turns or less. So that's going to be a little bit difficult with this team. And you also need to complete it with 3 low class warriors and 3 Super Saiyans. The idea behind the team essentially is just to have strength Namek Goku transform early on and stack defense alongside the Bardock for as long as possible. And then we're going to obviously rotate the physical Vegetas so that they can get as many supers off as possible. And then in the floating rotation, we're going to have Sugesh and Toa stacking their defense as best that they can. I don't think they're going to stack it so well. And then we're going to eventually link up one of the fully transformed physical Vegetas with the Tech SSB because they'll both be Super Saiyan Blue. And then they should be able to defend out from there. And Tech Vegeta, once he gets high defense, is going to create orbs, which is going to help us control our health and regain health quite easily. So yeah, that's about it. There's nothing more to it. In terms of the enemies, we can take a look here. Raditz didn't do anything. It was just a normal enemy. Hit relatively hard. And Nappa is immune to stunning. So, yeah, in terms of this event, obviously with the IDBHs, they start out hitting not hard, but they start out dishing out a decent whack. As you could see, I took a bit of health damage in the beginning. Toa took a super, Sugesh took a super, so all of a sudden, you're low on health. So units with about 60, 70,000 defense are going to struggle right from the beginning in this fight. It is one of those fights, but its escalation is not nearly as bad as things like the legendary Goku event and stuff like that. We get to the final phase against the Strength Broly, and the physical Vegetas are handling him, really well for physical units that only sit at around 160, 180,000 defense. So yeah, as much as it's a good event, and as much as it starts out a little bit faster than the LGE, it's definitely not as difficult as the LGE in the later stage. And that's generally how IDBH is. It starts a little bit harder than your average Dokkan event and ends up being probably around about the same difficulty as maybe God Goku in the LGE event, which is the Tech Goku. I think that's good. I think it's a good difficulty to sit around, especially with the challenges that they do, finishing in 17 turns, finishing with these kind of people, finishing with these kind of categories. I think it's really good. So I've got no problem with this type of thing. We're going to link up the Bardock and the Goku. They don't link particularly well. They share all in the family at this stage. But Bardock's going to drop some of those when he turns into a Super Saiyan. They link okay. They share like 3 links as Super Saiyans. So they really don't share that many links. But they're an okay pairing for this kind of event. Bardock obviously can stack defense in his first form. And we can then elect when to transform him. And when we do transform him, he's good against extreme type enemies. And as you may have noticed, this entire event is filled with extreme type enemies. So we're going to hope that kicks in and that helps us out a little bit. I will put a full disclaimer in early on here that we do not manage to beat this stage in less than 17 turns with this team. We take 27 turns, which isn't bad. You know, it's got a couple free-to-play cards. It's not high on damage here. I did go back and finish this with a, full-on strength, LR, full final trump card, yeah, do this, do that team. But I don't like showing videos with those because, one, it doesn't meet the requirements, and two, not everyone can make them. Not everyone can make this team, but it at least gives you an idea on how to build it, maybe. So yeah, Goku is really good, as you can see. I mean, this Goku's got one dupe. He's gonna hit around about 2 million. He's got no real links leveled. He's not even got a great linking partner. He guards. He stacks defense. Really, really solid unit. Plus his rage mode will come in handy if we end up taking too much damage. Which we won't, but it can come in handy. It is available there. It is available for election. Vegeta cannot be sealed, nor can he have his attack lowered. So we're already at the stage where we can't lower their attack, which is a bit of a problem because lowering attack is one of the nicer ways to control the flow of a battle. So if we can't summon, if we can't lower the attack of units, it's going to cause us a bit of a problem. Obviously Vegeta is transforming now. It's important to get as many super attacks as you can with Vegeta while he's transforming up to Super Saiyan Blue, because it's during those stages that he stacks his defense. If you miss a couple super attacks, missing one's fine, but if you miss like 2 or 3 super attacks, you can really notice the difference. He'll be sitting at around about 130,000 defense rather than sitting at that nice high 180k that he can get to. This Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, he's very good. He obviously stacks, so the longer the event goes, the more powerful he's going to be. He does start a little bit slower. This unit does have 2 dupes, so if you don't have 2 dupes in your unit, you might notice him going at a slower pace. And the orbs are still the predominant factor. You're still going to need about 4 orbs, 5 orbs to really see him benefit from that stacking. It's really pointless him stacking his attack and defense and then he gets like 1 orb every turn. So you are going to want to make sure that you can get orbs still, because that's really going to help you out. But in terms of the rest, there's nothing too much to be concerned about with this team. As the fight goes on, generally they should scale well enough to take on the event. I did have a little bit of a problem with Toa, because obviously with him having the lowest stats and the lowest passive in the team, and him only being floating, so he's not stacking. I mean, there you can see he's taking 57,000 damage, and with him only stacking every couple turns because he's on floating rotation, we did have a little bit of a problem with him. But that being said, he ended up doing fine. He did survive the final stages while taking a bit of damage and everything. So if he can survive the final stages with some items, if you can find a replacement or just put a replacement in, you'll be perfectly fine. So yeah, we've got this Vegeta here. Obviously this is the Skada Vegeta. He's actually getting an EZA eventually on global, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, so all of the opponents we'll have today are Pure Saiyans. So if you're going for absolute just speed monster build, the Wicked Bloodlines team could be the perfect team for you, with all their benefits against Gokus and Pure Saiyans and Hybrid Saiyans and all the sorts there. It's definitely more than well enough that you then take on the stage. With a Wicked Bloodlines team, you'll definitely find some good luck there and good fortune. Yeah, the Turles. So the Turles, he's really not. He stops switching, so you can't switch. But it doesn't seem like that apparent. It sometimes occurs. Firstly, so it is random. It can not occur and can occur, and it only ever happened to 1 unit for me. So I cannot truly say how impactful it could be. That could have just been my luck. It could happen to 2 units a turn. It could happen all the time. It's going to be difficult to say. But yeah, beyond that, he's not too worrying for me. Goku is obviously our only strength unit in this team, but he's got the ability to guard, which does help, and he stacks his defense. So, he does generally outstack the Turles by the time we get there. So, yeah, definitely something that, that's it's not too concerning. I think Turles comes at the right stage, especially being an agility unit, that you're not going to have too many problems with him, even if you are running something like the Strength Namek Goku or anything like that. But in terms of the IDBHs, obviously we try our best, I try my best to do teams that can meet the requirements and also provide some, ideas for players. Stacking units are generally favored in these events because, even they're like going the minimum kind of stages to finish all the challenge. 17 turns is a long time. There are very few other events where you're going 17 turns. Your stacking units are going to get 6-7 stacks if they don't additional. So stacking does help in these events. Obviously with the scaling of the events getting harder and harder, being able to stack helps you kind of keep the pace. That being said, as you can see from Toa, stacking is also going to really depend on the unit's base stats. When he's coming in, is he floating, is he on main rotation? Does he do anything else? Can he do anything else? So yeah, it's definitely something that you're just going to want to keep an eye on. You don't want to just build stacking teams for the sake of building stacking teams. Yes, you can use the same team as you always use. I think any team that's cleared the other IDBHs should be able to clear this one eventually. With weaker teams, obviously, one of the strategies is if your teams are weak, as in they struggle early on, you're going to have to expend the items early on and try to get their stacks building more rapidly, maybe by prolonging the easier fights, by having your non-stacking units miss attacks and having your stacking units only deal damage, or by obviously just expending items early on, prolonging things, using Whis, using Ghost Ushers, and just prolonging the fight until units like Sagesh or Toa are stacking to the point where, they can't take damage and your defense is so high that you're just healing at such a phenomenal rate. So we now get, obviously, the blue Vegeta. We did get one a little bit earlier, but so now we can finally have two blue Vegetas. One will float, one will link up with the main one. Obviously those orbs really helped us in terms of our healing and just getting a whole massive ton of damage. It's going to be interesting to see the attack stat here. 4.4 million because of the orbs. Very impressive. That's pretty much it. You're just going to heal off the stacking units and it's going to kind of just go down very smoothly. Beyond that, taking a look at the stage, there's really nothing else that I can say in terms of this team, at least. Another good alternative team that you could try beyond the Wicked Bloodlines one is obviously a Kamehameha team. Always does quite well in these events. Kamehameha has some pretty strong stackers. You could also look at something like a Movie Boss's team. I do plan on trying to use one of those eventually. So but in terms of Paragus as well, so he can't be sealed, can't be stunned, but he loses the locking switching. I don't know why they gave that to Turles. I don't know why they didn't give Paragus anything. But Paragus does look slightly easier as well overall than all of the others. So definitely not something to worry about in terms of this stage. But here the only unit we really need to worry about is Toa, and he's starting to finally stack. We'll see. So Vegeta, really good. Stacking, healing, orbs, fantastic, and he gets a crit. So there we go. That's the innate tech crit kicking in. He's obviously tech has crit. I do suggest just going slightly more additional and then building into crit. And then if you want with your equipment, you can go full crit on him. Obviously additionals help him stack, but you know, if you getting to this kind of point in fights, you're gonna want crits to happen. So never ever completely rule out crits on a unit. They are one of the biggest forms of damage. So with stackers, I generally get stackers until maybe, obviously if they can, 20 out of their system. I try to maybe, in my head, max additional from the system. So if they can get 20 from their HP system, give them 20. If they can get to 24, if they can get to, whatever, as long as they get there. And then I generally will build more crit on the equipment than I will additional, because that just kind of, A, obviously splits them, but B, I'd rather a unit have like a 45% chance to additional and like a 30% chance to crit than like a 50% chance to additional and like a 20% chance to crit. Just because it's the way it works and the way the damage splits and everything like that. As you guys can see, we are not going to make the 17 turn limit. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen here. But that's okay. Like I say, as long as we get the categories done, we're not too worried about anything. Broly, if anyone was wondering, is immune to attack lowering and defense lowering and stunning and sealing. So as always, eventually with these stages, the units always get to the point where they're like, no, they're not taking damage anymore, they're not having their attack lowered, they're not allowed to be sealed, they're not allowed to be stunned, they're not allowed to have their defense lowered. So it's not, it just becomes at this point getting crits and keeping up defense and maintaining your heals off of orbs, because your units are stacking so much. And yeah, beyond that, we're starting not really to worry about too many units. We could have maybe had Bardock stack a little bit more, because obviously the tech phase is right near the end. So Broly is quite strong. But yeah, beyond having Bardock stack a couple more times, I think we played this about as well as we could. We could possibly make the 17 turns if I had the last 2 dupes in the Tech SSB Vegeta, maybe some more crit equipment on them, or just better equipment in general. Possibly put some better equipment on Sagesh and Toa, I guess. Bardock got his first and second dupe, got his equipment, then maybe, for sure, we could have 100% have finished the stage possibly in 17 turns. But I mean, by then, we're looking at like a full rainbow team. And then, if you're taking a full rainbow team, even if you're taking 2 free-to-play units, you should be able to get all the challenges done. It's not going to be too hard. Vegeta, however, is doing some boss damage now. He's doing really well, so he's really become impressive, and this Vegeta next to him is doing very well as well. I think with this Vegeta, I was hoping they would easier the transforming units for Saiyan Day. Obviously they have not, but with this Vegeta, I think he's not too far off being the same strength as the current level DFE. I think he just needs either maybe greatly stacking in his transforming stages, so that at the end he's maybe sitting above 200k defense and his attacks a little bit higher. You could also maybe make him stack attack as well during those phases, so he's maybe sitting at about 4 million, 4.2 million, and then that's honestly really about it. I don't think he needs damage reduction from his passive. I think it's fair enough to not give it to him. And I don't think he needs, evasion or anything. You could maybe give him crit. Maybe give him extra crit chance per orb in his final transformation. And then, I think he's genuinely fine that way. I think he's actually a perfectly acceptable card once you make those changes. But other than that, obviously Bardock, he is almost done with his passive, so he's almost not going to have that super effective against all types. And in terms of the Dokkan attack, you do want to try and time it for when you need heals, but it's very difficult to do when you're fighting a whole bunch of stages and worried about items and this and that and surviving. Because you know, when you wipe out like here, if I wipe out here, I've lost 20 minutes of my day, 22 minutes of my day. And yeah, maybe I'm just tapping a screen and moving some units from side to side every now and then, because I've managed to have a decent box. But for a new player, or maybe a player who's a little bit less experienced, or maybe just hasn't tried as much challenging content, they may struggle with this event in general. But yeah. So we finished off the Tech Broly, and now it's time to move on to the Strength LR Broly. Well, Strength EZA Broly. Actually, I think this is LR's TUR art. I think, no, it's the EZA Broly. So, yeah, here, obviously, our major concern, as you're all gonna know, is the physical Vegeta. He's gonna be a little bit of a problem. We do have two of them. Luckily his defense is high enough, but it still poses a problem when it does happen. Fortunately, the other rotation of Goku and of Bardock is really not going to have any problems against this Broly, especially Bardock. So yeah, as you can see, this Broly, the only difference between him and the Tech one, obviously can't be stunned, can't be sealed, can't attack lower, can't defense lower, and this one does that all-out attack from the Dokkan event. It doesn't look like a super attack again, but obviously it just means that Toa is not going to be able to hide away from damage, which means we need to make certain that we can heal up on the orbs. But other than that, honestly, everything looks pretty stock standard in terms of this IDBH. I don't want to even go so far as to say it's that hard. Obviously, we did use a couple items to seal up the beginning of this fight, but now that we're settled in, I think we should be perfectly fine. So yeah, basically at this point we're just hoping for a couple crits to make our life a little bit easier. But if we don't get those crits, obviously it's just going to be a little bit of a long haul. The problem will be if the Vegetas do get supered, they're going to take quite a bit of damage. We will probably be able to recover from it if we get some orbs with some of our higher attacking stacking units. But yeah, we do want to avoid that happening as much as possible, because it is going to cause us a problem and it is not something that we do want to happen. But fortunately, Broly is very kind to us and decides to super the Tech unit, who takes no damage because of just how many orbs he got basically, plus the items that we've used. And then obviously we get a very nice crit from the physical unit, which really helps us out there because we were not doing a lot of damage to Broly. Bardock does dish out some decent damage, thankfully, being an agility type and having the super effective against all types. But obviously at one dupe, Bardock's not putting out the craziest amount of damage. You know, he's not like dishing out megawatts of damage. So yeah, it is just something we gotta keep in mind, that we are going to struggle a tiny bit in terms of damage, just because this team right here doesn't have the heaviest hitters. The only heavy hitters it has is the Vegeta cards. Without this Namek Goku having a couple dupes, well, one more dupe I should say, and without this Bardock and him really linking that well, and Bardock being at 55%, we have no real damage on the other rotations. And Sagesh and Toa are not damage dealers. They're merely just there to kind of stack and just not die, really. But we do take a massive super attack on our boy Sagesh, getting very close to throwing in the towel there. Yeah, which is fun. But we do get an Android 8. We have it in our back pocket because we survived the earlier rounds. And for good measure, I also contemplate using the Icarus that we have. But we're making some decent head work on this Broly. You know, he's past halfway now. So a couple decent more turns with the with the Tech Vegeta maybe getting some crits, and with the 2 other Vegetas getting crits, will really help out. And then obviously hopefully the units have stacked a little bit more, so if we take another super attack from Broly, we won't die or quiche out. We get super lucky. I mean, yeah, he only supers the Tech one and Sagesh, who had decently stacked defense at this point. If he had supered like a Vegeta, the Vegeta that had missed a stack with its super attack, we probably would have died or been like literally like 10 health away from dying, because Vegeta's got 20,000 less defense and we're left with like 30k health. So yeah, pretty scary stuff, but it's all okay. We do manage to obviously get the deed done. We managed to get a couple decent super attacks off after this. Unfortunately, Bardock does not super attack, so there's a slight problem. But in terms of the Broly, yeah, I could say beyond all the usual stuff that he had before, his all-out attack, that attack all thing really doesn't seem like a thing. I saw it in the Dokkan event and I've seen it now, and it's just not that impressive unless you have like a super low health or low defense unit that's in your rotation that you're trying to hide. It can be super annoying then if there's a unit you're hiding, maybe a unit that relies on evasion, or a unit that you generally just kind of put in the slot when it's not getting attacked. It can be irritating then, but yeah, from what I've seen, it's not that much of a big deal. Whether they intended it for it to be a big deal or just to catch out teams that have those kind of units that want to hide away, I don't know. But yeah, from my perspective, it's just, yeah, it's not really something that I'm that concerned about. But we're going to be able to finish up this event soon. Even if we take a super attack now at this point, we won't die. So yeah, all in all, not too bad. Right person super attack here, the Tech Vegeta. So we're all pretty good. And yeah, we should be able to finish up this event and move on and claim our prizes. So yeah, overall, pretty decent showing from this team. Obviously fulfills the Super Saiyan requirements and the low class warrior requirements. It doesn't get it in 17 turns. I think if you had more dupes than Bardock, we would get it in 17 turns. You could maybe replace out Strength Goku as well for something that maybe does a bit more damage. His defense was really good, but his damage was, not that crucial. And Toa, if you can replace Toa also with something that's a low class warrior that does decent damage, that would also help. The only one I can think of is maybe Raditz. Raditz might be able to assist you in that situation. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope this video helps you. And yeah, let me know how your attempts at the IDBH stage goes. And yeah, cool. Cheers. Till the next video. And bye.